Butterfly myths, magic, messages, and metamorphosis. Get ready for a fascinating journey of epic proportions, gently delivered. Like the first hush of morning light as it spills into the world. That quiet moment just after dawn, when the world is still holding its breath. Imagine a single sunbeam slipping through old oak leaves to crown one perfect flower. There, on the petals, a creature of impossible lightness. Stained glass wings begin to stir, awakening with the sun. So fragile a breath could unmake it, yet it carries centuries. More than insect, symbol, story, messenger. Across deserts and oceans, ages and empires, we've seen in it our souls, our hopes for love, our faith in life beyond, our capacity for change. It is a living poem written on air. It does not shout, it whispers. Its magic is the silent dance from blossom to blossom, asking us not to listen, but to feel. To witness its journey is to hold a small miracle. From earthbound caterpillar to winged marvel, even from darkest confines, beauty waits to emerge, a hope painted on silk. Why has this small life captured us so completely? Because it shows that profound transformation is natural, and that vulnerability, bravely met, becomes our strength. Today, we will embark on a quiet journey together, crossing time, oceans, following a pair of fragile wings. Let this be a promise, to roam, to wonder, to listen. It is a journey that carries us through ages and continents, guided by the silent flight of the butterfly, our lantern in the morning air, our compass in the open sky. We begin in the mists of the past, where first stories were told in breath and firelight, where symbols took root, and wings began to mean soul. We will trace the myths that gave it power, the tapestries and manuscripts, the whispers of temples and hearths, uncovering the rich meanings our ancestors wove into this small luminous life. Then we step into the bright clarity of science, and still the magic deepens. Metamorphosis, real alchemy, turning a crawling hunger into a master of air and light. But the path does not end with fact. It bends inward, into the landscape of your own heart, where change becomes courage, and tenderness becomes strength. We will hear the living stories, how a gentle encounter can quiet grief, how a single landing can stitch a moment back together, how healing sometimes arrives on trembling wings. For this is a story of the soul, of love, and of the beautiful, heartbreaking impermanence that asks us to hold the present as if it were made of light. Come with us. Open your mind, open your heart, and let the butterfly teach you how to see, so that by the end its wisdom will rest softly in your hands. So I ask you to do something simple. Slow down with me and breathe. I ask you to watch closely, not to glance, but to rest your eyes and let them soften. Notice the intricate cartography on a single wing. Veins like rivers, colors like a secret map of another world. See the fine dust that coats it, each tiny scale catching sunlight, shimmering like breathed-on glass. Watch the antennae taste the air, listening to invisible signals we can only imagine. When you look with this kind of attention, you are doing more than seeing. You are participating in the moment itself. And as you watch, I invite you to feel. Let whatever stirs within you rise and settle like petals on water. The butterfly's journey holds great struggle, deep solitude, ultimate release, then a glorious emergence. It echoes our own doubt and waiting in the dark, and the sudden joyful breakthrough into light. Let a caterpillar's steady crawl remind you of your resilience. Let the chrysalis teach patience and trust in becoming. This is not a lecture. It is a meditation, an invitation to move at the speed of a wing beat. The butterfly does not worry yesterday nor race toward tomorrow. It simply is, fully present in this breath. By watching it, we learn to quiet the mind and be with the simple, profound beauty right before us. Let us begin this journey with open hearts, agreeing, just for a little while, to see the world with wonder. See this common creature as if for the first time, and let it reveal its quiet secrets, threads woven into the fabric of our own lives. It is a timeless tale of transformation, of hope, and of the enduring power of the soul carried on fragile wings. The butterfly is waiting. Are you ready to listen to what it has to say? Then let us step together into its world of myth and magic. Our journey into the myths of the butterfly begins in the hush of antiquity, among marble, laurel, and sea wind, where stories were carved in stone and carried on the breeze. We travel to ancient Greece, a land of philosophers and epic hearts, where temples crowned the hills and every living thing bore a meaning. Here, wings did not belong to insects alone. They belonged to ideas, to souls, to destiny. The Greeks had a single word for butterfly and for soul: psyche. In that one breath lives the essence of a person, the spark that animates the body, the unseen current that outlives flesh. To them, a butterfly was a soul made visible, fragile, luminous, free. When wings brushed the air, it was as though the invisible had momentarily taken shape, reminding the living that breath belongs to eternity. Consider Psyche, so radiant she drew the wrath of a goddess, who crossed shadowed realms and bore impossible trials before finding union with Eros. Her name became the emblem, her journey, a map from suffering to awakening. In this creature they read a parable: confinement before release, darkness before dawn. From chrysalis to sky, the psyche rose, proof that what is remade is not lost, but transformed. So a butterfly near a tomb was never random. It was a sign of comfort, a loved one unbound, the soul stepping lightly into the next horizon, the air itself whispering of continuation. The lesson endured. The human spirit must pass through its own metamorphoses, times of narrowing and unknowing, trusting that patience and courage will one day unfold into wings. Thus the Greeks heard hope in every flutter. The butterfly as the soul's triumph, a quiet anthem drifting down the centuries to rest for a moment in our open hands. Now, we leave the shores of Greece and let the winds carry us east, over mountains and seas, until the mist parts and the islands of Japan appear like quiet lanterns on the water. Here, the butterfly steps into a gentler tale, its flight a soft conversation with gardens, bridges, and the hush of temple courtyards. In Japanese culture, the butterfly is cherished not for hardship but for harmony, joy, love, and companionship, an emblem of a heart learning to move with another's rhythm. A single butterfly can be the blush of first love, light, uncertain, thrilling, alighting for a moment, then circling back with shy devotion. It is the innocence of a blossoming heart, flitting with joy, the way new love makes the world feel brighter, closer, newly alive. To those seeking a partner, its arrival is considered a kindly omen, a quiet blessing that the path ahead may open with grace. And when two butterflies weave together in the air, they are a wish made visible, marital bliss, a union that lasts, two lives learning one dance. This is why their motif graces wedding kimonos, threads of silk echoing wings, and quietly appears in the emblems of family lineages. The butterfly becomes a vow stitched in fabric and memory, to share joy, to honor harmony, to walk lightly together. It is a prayer for the couple, a lifelong blessing of balance and tenderness, so that love may remain graceful through every season. Watch the pair's circling flight, give and receive, approach and release, each responding to the other, creating beauty together. An old tale carries this tenderness. It tells of Takahama, a gentle soul living beside a quiet cemetery, whose days were visited by a single white butterfly. Each day it came to him, then drifted to the grave of Akiko, hovering, lingering, as if keeping a promise that time could not erase. When Takahama fell ill, his nephew shooed the visitor away again and again. Still, the white butterfly returned, faithful as breath. After Takahama passed, a priest revealed the quiet truth. Akiko had been his betrothed, gone before their wedding day, and for 50 years he had visited her resting place. The butterfly, said the priest, was her soul, coming back to sit with the one she loved. In this story, the butterfly holds both meanings at once, soul and love, an enduring bond that outlives sorrow and keeps its vow with wings. Across the water in China, a neighboring tradition sings a similar song, the butterfly as emblem of young love, joy, and the freedom of true companionship. Lovers recognize themselves in its flight, light, fearless, inseparable. Each turn and rise a promise to meet in the open air between them. So the classic tale is told. Liang Shanbo and Zhu Yingtai, two hearts kept apart by the world, like a Chinese Romeo and Juliet. Only in death do they finally unite, transformed, rising from their graves as beautiful butterflies, at last allowed to fly side by side. Free forever, they become the very image of devotion. Two wings, one wind, an eternity of shared flight. In the East, the butterfly sings a song of connection, the bliss of love, the grace of partnership, and the quiet joy of two lives learning to move as one. Our journey now turns south to the highlands of Mexico, where warm light, incense, and memory mingle in the air. Each autumn, millions of monarchs ride the wind thousands of miles, homeward to Oyamel fir forests that wait like cathedrals of green. They arrive as the days of the dead begin, Dia de los Muertos, when families welcome their beloved departed with ofrendas, candles, bread, and stories. For the Purépecha and many in central Mexico, the monarchs are returning souls, kin traveling back on delicate wings to share one more evening of light. Marigolds, cempasúchil, burn bright like small suns, their petals said to guide the spirits home. The monarchs answer, lantern orange in the wind. In the sanctuaries, trees breathe with wings. The hush is broken only by a soft rustle, like rain in a chapel. These visitors are not insects here. They are family, received with offerings, photographs, and quiet gratitude at the altar of remembrance. Their fluttering presence bridges seen and unseen worlds, a tender reunion where love crosses the threshold for a little while. The forests that cradle them are sacred. To protect these groves is to honor the ancestors and keep the path of return aglow. And when the sun warms the branches, 1,000 wings rise at once, the sky turning to flame, as if memory itself had taken flight. In Mexico, the butterfly is a living promise. Love endures, the departed draw near, and the heart learns to recognize them by the sound of wings. They come, they bless, and they go, leaving the air fragrant with cempasúchil and the soul brightened by their gentle, fiery return. We now travel northward, across the wide plains, over blue mountains and through cedar shade, listening for the stories that ride on wind and wing. Among many indigenous nations, the butterfly is more than a passing beauty. It is a messenger between worlds, a bringer of dreams, and a living lesson in transformation. Its quiet journey from earthbound hunger to airy grace has long been read as a teaching. That change, undertaken with patience and courage, can carry a spirit from darkness into light. In the stories of the Blackfoot, butterflies are companions of sleep and gentle dreams. Elders speak of soft songs inviting them to visit the lodges, to settle like blessings upon small, sleepy brows, so that the night is peaceful and the mind is calmed. In such tellings, the butterfly is a benevolent spirit, arriving without noise or fear, carrying comfort on trembling wings as softly as breath. Another teaching comes from Hopi tradition. A creator finished shaping the animals, gathered the leftover colors of the world and placed them in a woven bag. When children opened it, a cloud of butterflies rose, each one a shard of sky, flower, and stone made living, spreading beauty wherever they flew. In this way, butterflies are linked to beginnings, to creation itself, and to the gift of color that brightens the human path. Across communities, the butterfly's life is taught to children as a circle of becoming: egg, caterpillar, chrysalis, and wing. The stillness of the chrysalis is honored as a necessary quiet, time for unseen work, time for trust. From these lessons rise meanings of resilience and change, that hardship may be a hidden doorway, and that patience can hold the shape of the future, even when we cannot yet see its colors. There is also the quiet act of trust, to gently hold a butterfly, whisper a wish it cannot speak, and release it to the Great Spirit, letting the wind carry your secret where words cannot go. In many nations' tellings, the butterfly is never just an insect. It is a spiritual guide, a colorful teacher, a sacred link to the unseen. Its wings remind us that hope can travel lightly, and that what is cherished in the heart may yet find its way home. Let us cross the great ocean once more, to the misty green islands of Ireland and Scotland, where sea winds braid stories through heather and stone. In the world of the Celts, of standing stones, fair folk, and the shimmering veil of the otherworld, the butterfly moves like a soft prayer. Here it bears the weight of soul and spirit. Much like in ancient Greece, it is a sign of the human essence. In Irish, Fé Leachan, whispered with reverence, speaks to that ancient belief. To see one drift near a grave was comfort, a gentle assurance that a beloved soul had crossed safely, homeward, joyful, and at peace. The butterfly became the soul made visible, pure, enduring and tender as breath, touching earth only long enough to remind us of what outlives the body. A white butterfly, especially, was thought to carry the spirit of a child, innocence returning as a blessing, a small winged message of solace to the living. Such faith threaded daily rites, the butterfly as a bridge between fields, this world and the other world, meeting us wherever the mist thins. Colors, too, carried omens in this woven lore, yellow hinting at journeys and change, and red, like the red Ephemeral, signaling a powerful presence, a stirring of fierce spirit. A black butterfly might foretell a storm or a testing season, an old warning borne on fragile wings, while hearths and hills kept watch. Read together, these signs became a living script, sky, wing, and weather, through which the Celts sought meaning in the world's quiet signatures. Beneath it all runs the Celtic promise of transformation, triskelé and knotwork, endless curves hinting at returns, departures, and sacred continuance. Those looping lines, life, death, and renewal, mirror the butterfly's own path, each thread crossing another, no end, no beginning, only flow. Caterpillar for the earthly walk, chrysalis for the tomb's hush, and winged soul for the rising, each phase a verse in the same eternal hymn. In the Celtic imagination, the butterfly is a bright strand in the great knot itself, a fleeting grace that reminds us the journey is endless and always becoming. As Christianity spread across Europe, it gently wove older symbols into its own story, reframing them with a new light of faith and hope. The butterfly, long linked with soul and rebirth, became a natural sign within this faith, an image through which believers could glimpse the promise of resurrection. Its life, unfolding in plain sight, felt like a living parable, life drawn forth from what seems like loss, a quiet testament to grace. Early Christians saw in the caterpillar our earthly life, grounded, hungry, bound to the needs and limits of the world. In the still chrysalis, they recognized the tomb, silence and shadow, a season of waiting in which unseen change is at work. It also spoke to a believer's own rest, darkness as a threshold, time held in sacred quiet before dawn. Then, light. The breaking of the casing, the widening wings, became a radiant sign of Christ's rising from the tomb. A casting off of the old for a new and glorious body. Triumph sung in color and light. For the faithful, the butterfly's first flight mirrored the soul set free, lifted from earthbound limits toward heaven's wide sky. So its form entered early Christian art, on tombs and in catacombs, as a quiet message of hope, a symbol set beside the cross. The metaphor brought comfort, mystery made tangible, theology spoken in the gentle grammar of nature. It felt as though God's promise was written not only in Scripture, but also upon the delicate panes of a wing. What once lived in older tales became, in Christian hands, a messenger of hope, familiar beauty carrying a renewed meaning. And so the butterfly proclaimed, from the darkest ending, a beginning. From silence, a song, part of both a natural rhythm and a divine design. As we have journeyed from Greece to Japan, from Mexico to Ireland, we have heard many different stories, each a petal on the same blooming truth. Greece, Japan, Mexico, Ireland. We have seen the butterfly as soul, as lover, as ancestor, as messenger, one symbol, countless meanings. Each culture paints the butterfly with its own colors. A Greek philosopher beholds the immortal soul, a Japanese couple, a happy marriage, a Mexican family, a beloved grandparent, an Irish farmer, a child at peace. And yet, beneath these beautiful differences, a pattern emerges, a set of universal themes that bind them all. Foremost is transformation. Every culture is astonished by metamorphosis, the ordinary becoming extraordinary before our eyes. The journey from an earthbound caterpillar to a creature of exquisite freedom speaks a language everyone understands: hope. It tells us our present condition is not our destination. From darkness and confinement, a profound and beautiful change can rise within the human heart. Another enduring thread is the soul, the unseen life within us, named and honored across faiths and ages, carried on delicate wings. Whether Greek Psyche, a returning ancestor in Mexico, or the resurrected soul in Christianity, the butterfly is always more than a body. It becomes the essence that loves and dreams, the spark that endures beyond the limits of flesh and time. The butterfly gives visible form to an invisible knowing, letting us see what the heart already feels. Finally, there is beauty and impermanence. The petal-thin moment that gleams, then slips away, inviting tenderness toward the now. A butterfly's life is brief, its color, a sudden flare that blesses the world for days or weeks. That brevity makes each appearance precious, a soft reminder of our own finite hour upon the earth. So we learn to savor the present, because, like the butterfly, it will not last, and in that tenderness life becomes deeper, more luminous, more whole. What gives this one small creature such universal power? Why can it speak across centuries and tongues with no need for words? Because it speaks in pure symbol, visual poetry our hearts understand instinctively. Its life is our life in miniature. Struggle, waiting, release. Its trials are our trials. Its triumphs, our own. It holds up a mirror to our deepest hopes and fears, and becomes the living embodiment of hope. For the lost or broken, the chrysalis is not an ending. It is the necessary hush before the bloom. Think of a universal alphabet. The caterpillar is struggle, the chrysalis is waiting, the butterfly is freedom. Symbols hold both a shared meaning and a private truth. The butterfly belongs to everyone, and speaks to each of us alone. Carry these themes with you. The myths have given us a way of seeing. Now let science add its own kind of magic. Our path now turns from myth to mechanism, from story to structure, into a tiny universe where every life begins. The butterfly egg. No larger than a pinhead, yet exquisitely made, The egg is a masterpiece of miniature engineering, round, oval, or spindle-shaped, smooth as pearl or delicately ribbed, each shell etched with patterns that catch the light like tiny jewels. A mother butterfly chooses its cradle with astonishing precision. Guided by chemical sensors in her feet and antennae, she tastes and smells the green world to find one plant, the right plant, on which her young can live. Monarchs choose milkweed. Swallowtails search out dill and fennel. This fidelity is not preference. It is survival. Without the host, there can be no first meal, no first breath, no future flight. Within the shell, the chorion, an embryo stirs. The surface is dotted with minute pores, doors for breath, exchanging invisible currents so life can kindle in safety. Hours pass, or days, according to species and temperature. Quietly, the body assembles from a store of yolk, a complete plan unfolding inside a fortress thinner than paper. At last, the first act of independence. The hatchling cuts a seam with an egg tooth, pushes free, and turns back to eat the shell. Its first nourishing meal, rich in needed proteins and minerals. Instinct takes the lead. The larva steadies itself on its host leaf, finds the tender edge, and begins to feed, small bites, sure purpose, the quiet prelude giving way to growth. From one perfect placement flows an entire future. Egg to mouthful, mouthful to muscle, muscle to motion. The mother is gone. The legacy remains, written in chemistry, sealed to a single plant. Think of the egg as a diagram brought to life. A sealed chamber, breathing through pores, an embryo drawing from yolk, a timed escape that begins the long arc, egg, larva, pupa, adult. From this world within the egg, a life steps into hunger and daylight. The stillness ends here. The great work of the caterpillar begins. Once free from the egg, the caterpillar enters the second and most critical stage of its life. Its single purpose now is simple and profound. Eat, grow, and prepare for change. It is, in essence, a beautifully designed eating machine, built for steady work, hour after hour. For weeks, life is a gentle rhythm. Find the host plant, chew methodically, rest, and begin again, storing energy for the transformation ahead. The body is perfectly adapted. Strong mandibles for leaves, true legs for grip, and soft prolegs for steady traction along each stem. Growth is astonishing. In a few short weeks, the caterpillar can increase its mass 1,000-fold, a quiet miracle powered by many small bites. With rapid expansion, the skin cannot keep up. So it molts, shedding the old to make room for the new. This happens several times. Each stage between molts, an instar, reveals a larger caterpillar, sometimes with fresh patterns that foreshadow the change to come. Yet these days are dangerous ones. The small grazer must avoid many watchful eyes. Birds, wasps, and spiders hunt by sight and movement. Every pause and every leaf becomes a choice between risk and safety. To survive, some species borrow plant poisons, like monarchs on milkweed, and broadcast a warning in bold colors: do not eat. Others vanish in plain sight, blending with twigs and leaves, or flash false eye spots to startle would-be attackers. Through it all, the work remains the same. Gather energy, steadily and quietly, for the moment when everything must change. It crawls. It eats. It grows. It avoids being eaten. This simple focus is the foundation upon which the miracle of flight will rest. This humble stage lays the groundwork for what comes next. The quiet preparation for the chrysalis, where transformation begins. The quiet miracle, inside the chrysalis. After its final meal, the caterpillar seeks a hidden perch, spins a silk pad, and hangs in a quiet jay. One last still breath, and the old skin splits, revealing an entirely new home. What remains is the chrysalis itself, not a silk cocoon like a moth's, but the insect's own hard, jeweled skin. Species by species, each pupa is unique, leaf mimic browns, smooth jade greens, even flecks of metallic gold. Days pass in perfect stillness. From the outside, it is a sealed room, a small green tomb. But stillness is not emptiness. It is preparation. Inside, the body unthreads itself into a rich cellular broth. Dormant imaginal discs awaken, tiny architects carrying blueprints, and begin to build anew. Antenna, wing, leg. Piece by piece, structures rise from the soup, veins lace the wings, patterns bloom like stained glass, a new body takes its silent form. Simple caterpillar eyes give way to complex mosaics. Chewing mouthparts become a coiled proboscis for nectar. This is not rearrangement, it is recreation. As the work completes, the chrysalis darkens. Wing colors show through the thin shell. The silhouette sharpens. The room of becoming is almost ready to open. In utter silence, surrender becomes strength. Within this small, shining case, a crawling life has become a flying one, waiting now for the first light to call it forth. The great unfolding, the emergence of the butterfly. In the hush after transformation, a green lantern of possibility sways, still, sealed, holding breath, until the moment begins. The chrysalis grows transparent. Darkness gathers into the folded promise of wings, a seam at the crown parts. With a patient, trembling effort, the new body slips free, wet, heavy, astonished by air. Hanging upside down, it clings to the empty shell. Hemolymph surges through delicate veins, and the crumpled sails begin to unfurl. Small fans opening to the light, line by luminous line. Colors bloom, patterns wake. Vulnerable, it waits, motionless, trusting the quiet hour to harden silk to strength. A faint red drop falls, the small housekeeping of a new life beginning. First flex, a testing tremor, then a shy release, one short fluttering leap from the cradle, the world arriving all at once in wind and light. What once crawled upon a single leaf now writes its name across the meadow sky. The transformation is complete, flight, desire, and the ancient circle beginning again. The science of transformation, the magic of metamorphosis. Breathe, and let the story unfold slowly, like wings opening to light. The scientific term is complete metamorphosis. Meta means change, morphe means form. A living redesign, egg, larva, pupa, adult, one life written in 4 movements. The larva and the adult are almost 2 different beings, different bodies, foods, and places to live, yet they carry one continuous thread of life. This separation is elegant design. The caterpillar gathers and stores, the adult disperses and creates the next generation. No competition, only cooperation across time. Evolution favored this path in many lineages. Beetles, flies, bees, proof that changing form can be a winning strategy. Inside the pupa, the old body softens into a nourishing soup. Dormant imaginal discs awaken, tiny architects, building eye and antenna, leg and wing. It is not mere rearrangement, it is a careful unmaking and remaking. Silence outside, symphony within. A lingering question whispers, does memory cross the threshold? Experiments teach caterpillars to avoid ascent. After metamorphosis, the adults still turn away, suggesting a fragile thread of identity endures. Here, science meets story. Psyche, the soul, surviving change. Neurons, perhaps, carrying echoes through the storm of becoming. Science does not dim the magic, it illuminates it, giving the ancient metaphor a language of cells, signals, and time. The outcome is the same wonder. A being that once crawled now drinks sunlight and air, carrying its quiet lesson on stained glass wings. Change is not an accident. It is a design, tested by ages, that turns vulnerability into flight. And so, when we speak of metamorphosis, we speak both poetry and proof. The soul's story, told with the grammar of nature. Let this knowledge slow us. Let it deepen our seeing. The miracle remains, the butterfly and the becoming. Masters of the wind, the wonder of migration. While the life cycle of a single butterfly is a marvel, the story turns epic when we follow those that journey, small wings tracing continents, writing their passage on the sky. The most famous is the multi-generational migration of the monarch in North America, an odyssey of endurance and navigation that continues to mystify and inspire. Each autumn, millions depart from the north, bound not for a vague south, but for the specific Oyamel fur sanctuary in central Mexico, up to 3,000 miles on wings like petals. By day, they ride thermals and soar. By night, they gather in dense clusters upon trees, living tapestries that glow like embers against the forest. This southbound wave is a supergeneration, long-lived, reproduction paused, every heartbeat given to flight, carrying a season's purpose across a continent. How do they do it? A sun compass in the antennae, a sense for Earth's magnetic field. And still, a residue of mystery that no instrument can quite capture. They arrive at the very forests their great-great-grandparents knew. An inherited map without ink, a memory etched in light and magnetism. This is a pilgrimage on the wind, millions moving as one, each fragile life a note in a vast ancient chorus. And even with all we know, their precision remains a wonder. Collective purpose, inherited memory, a true pilgrimage written on the wind. A dance with flowers, the role of the pollinator. Once the butterfly emerges and takes flight, two quiet urgings guide its days, to feed and to continue the lineage. Unlike the leaf-chewing caterpillar, the adult drinks. It uncoils a fine, straw-like proboscis from beneath its head, threads it into the flower's heart, and sips the sweet, energy-rich nectar. Feeding becomes reciprocity. As it drinks, its fuzzy body and legs dust with golden pollen from the stamens, a gift it will carry onward. Visiting the next bloom, some of that pollen brushes the stigma, and a new seed is promised. This is pollination made visible. Without pollinators, butterflies, bees, and so many small companions, fruits, seeds, and wildflower meadows would fade. This quiet exchange sustains harvests and color alike. The butterfly is a crucial partner in the dance of life. Over millions of years, flowers and butterflies co-evolved, each shaping the other's form and habits in a patient duet of mutual benefit. Flowers beckon with bright colors, sweet scents, and hidden nectar guides, patterns visible in ultraviolet, like runway lights leading the way home. In return, butterflies bear proboscises of many lengths to match many blooms, long for deep trumpets, short for open discs. An ancient partnership that builds living, colorful ecosystems. So, when you see a butterfly flitting flower to flower, you are watching a gardener at work. You're seeing a vital link in the food web, a maker of the very beauty it inhabits. This delicate dance powers so much life around us. The butterfly's seemingly wandering path is in truth a purposeful stitching of blossom to blossom, weaving the fabric of the natural world together. One quiet sip, one luminous flower at a time. A fragile home, the importance of habitat. For a butterfly to live its full story and pollinate our world, it needs one essential thing, a healthy, living home. A habitat is not just a place, it is a relationship. Food, water, shelter, and space working together so life can thrive. For butterflies, two kinds of plants are essential: host plants for hungry caterpillars and nectar plants to fuel the winged adults. First, host plants. A monarch needs milkweed. No milkweed, no monarchs. Many species are just as specific. Second, nectar. A diverse buffet of native blooms, spring to autumn, keeps wings in the air and life in motion. The best habitats feel like tapestries, layers of native flowers, shrubs, and trees stitched together by sunlight and gentle wind. Butterflies are sun lovers. Warm, open patches power their flight. They also need quiet corners to rest and hide from weather and predators. Native plants are the heartbeat of this home, co-evolved partners that feed local caterpillars and sustain adult butterflies. Many imported ornamentals and perfect lawns look lush to us, but to butterflies they are deserts. No host plants, little nectar, nowhere to grow. The health of butterflies mirrors the health of the land. Where native landscapes thrive, wings multiply. When you see many species in one sunny garden, you are witnessing an ecosystem in balance, food for every stage of life. And when butterflies begin to vanish, the land is whispering for help, a gentle, urgent signal that its web of life is fraying. Build with natives, offer sun and shelter, plant host and nectar. With these simple threads, you can help weave a living home. And then, wait for the quiet miracle, wings returning to the light. A gathering storm, threats to our winged friends. Let us look clearly and compassionately at the pressures shaping their fragile world. Across many regions, long-term counts show declines in butterfly abundance and diversity. Trends vary by place and species, yet the overall signal asks for attention rather than alarm. The first, largest pressure is habitat loss and fragmentation. As meadows, hedgerows, and wetlands shrink or break apart, host plants and nectar corridors become harder to find. For monarchs, milkweed is essential. For many other species, specific native plants are non-negotiable. When these plants are replaced by pavement or monocultures, life cycles are interrupted. Chemicals add a second pressure. Insecticides can harm caterpillars and adults. Herbicides remove the very weeds that nourish their young. The effect is cumulative across landscapes. Even careful use requires care for non-target species. Buffer zones, reduced spraying during bloom, and alternatives can lower risk while supporting growers and pollinators. A third pressure is climate change. Shifts in temperature and rainfall can uncouple bloom times from flight times and alter ranges, routes, and overwintering success. Extreme events, late frosts, heat waves, droughts, floods, can compress years of change into a single season, challenging even resilient species. None of these factors act alone. Fragmented habitats magnify chemical exposure. Climate shifts amplify scarcity. Together, they form a headwind butterflies must fly against. The signal is not despair, but direction. Monitoring shows where declines are strongest, which habitats help most, and how local actions scale into recovery. Healthy butterfly communities indicate healthy ecosystems, diverse plants, clean water, living soil, and space to move. Their presence is a quiet metric of resilience. Where butterflies fade, we are alerted to broader imbalances, lost flowers, simplified landscapes, and frayed food webs we all depend on. The path forward is practical and shared. Protect and reconnect habitat, reduce harmful chemicals, and plan for a changing climate with native plants and green corridors. If we ignore the warning, we risk a quieter world. If we heed it, we keep the music of wings alive. The choice, gentle, collective, possible, begins now. Science as a love story, seeing with new eyes. We began this act by shifting our view from myth to science. We might expect the magic to vanish, replaced by cold, hard facts. It does not. As we have seen, the scientific story is just as wondrous. The intricate egg, the caterpillar's relentless hunger, the quiet alchemy of the chrysalis, the epic arcs of migration. Science deepens the enchantment, inviting us closer. Science lets us see the why behind the what, the tender grammar beneath the poetry of wings. Myth tells us the butterfly is a soul reborn. Science shows the process, dissolution and rebuilding, a body remade for flight. Myth calls them messengers of ancestors. Science reveals sun compasses and magnetic senses, guiding them across a continent. Science is not the opposite of wonder. It is a path to it, a devotion of attention that unveils hidden secrets. Understanding transforms us. We move from passive admiration to participation, hands in soil, hearts engaged. Knowing the need for host plants, we plant nurseries for the next generation. Knowing their work as pollinators, we honor each visit to a flower. Knowing their risks, we choose to protect the fragile places they call home. In this way, science becomes a love story, attention ripening into care. And so, we return to awe. The biologist tracing code in a lab and the child watching a first landing share the same astonishment, wonder. The scientific and the symbolic are two sides of the same wing, telling one universal story of struggle, transformation, and the breathtaking beauty of life, seen anew. The modern muse, wings in art and literature. Today, the butterfly moves through galleries and pages, still speaking softly into our crowded lives, inviting us to pause and look again. It has not faded, it has evolved, an enduring muse for painters, poets, and image makers who reach for symbols that carry both tenderness and change. One glimpse of a wing can suggest a lifetime, a shorthand for beauty, metamorphosis, and the fleeting brilliance of a moment. In visual art, butterflies drift from surreal dreamscapes to street murals to quiet museum halls, where their forms become vessels for memory, loss, and renewal. Photographers chase symmetry and light across a trembling wing, a geometry of wonder that feels both designed and miraculous. In literature, a single butterfly can carry chapters of meaning, an awakening, a grace note of mercy, a gentle thread tying the living to the loved and gone. Writers trust the reader to understand. The symbol arrives without noise, and we simply know what it is saying. Beyond page and canvas, its image lives with us, on fabrics and pendants, on prints in our homes, small reminders of lightness and becoming. We keep it close because it returns us to the living world, like a window left open to the garden, carrying the scent of change inside. In this way, the butterfly becomes a quiet companion to modern life. Art we can wear, read, and live with, translating wonder into our everyday. And still, it keeps its mystery. A symbol that feels intimate and universal at once, speaking to many and to each in the same breath. Perhaps that is why the image endures. It is both moment and map. Beauty that points beyond itself to the possibility of becoming. A modern icon, yes, but also a gentle teacher, reminding us that every life, like every canvas, can open its wings. The skin as canvas, tattoos and personal transformation. There is no art more personal than a tattoo, a story written on living skin, a symbol we choose to carry for life. Among countless images, the butterfly endures, a quiet emblem of change, chosen when words are not enough. Ink becomes chrysalis, a permanent mark born from a temporary storm, resilience made visible. For many, a butterfly marks an ending and a beginning, the first breath after the dark. It can mean healing after illness, love carried through loss, or freedom from a past that no longer fits. Like wings drying in new light, the wearer can say without speaking, "I was remade, not broken, but born to fly." A badge of honor, a beautiful scar that remembers strength. Placement becomes poetry, a wrist to whisper courage, a back to leave the past behind, a chrysalis to wing design to honor becoming. Some choose matching butterflies, two lives in gentle orbit, a vow of partnership carried on skin. The art becomes a private epic, a quiet verse about where we've been and the future we choose. A modern ritual of meaning, the ancient symbol anchored to a single sovereign life. It is how we claim our metamorphosis, how we own the arc of change. In a restless world, the butterfly tattoo becomes a steady truth we can touch, a promise to honor struggle, to welcome growth, to remember the moment wings appeared, and to keep flying gently, bravely, in the direction of the light. A symbol for the silver screen, butterflies in pop culture. From gallery walls and tattoo studios, the butterfly takes flight onto our screens, big and small. In film and television, it becomes visual poetry. One quiet image carrying innocence, wonder, or the tremor of change. Directors use it like a whisper in the frame, an unspoken cue that tilts a scene toward hope, magic, or awakening. And yet, the symbol holds a shadow. Pinned wings in a cabinet can hint at danger, loss, a life held still. This duality, light and dark, makes the butterfly a storyteller's key, unlocking complex emotion without a single word. In music, the metaphor lives in lyric and voice. Flutter in the stomach, love just out of reach, the promise of becoming. Animated worlds turn wings into guides, swirls of color that lead heroes toward courage and kindness. For children, a single on-screen butterfly can open a door to wonder, an invitation to see the world as alive and friendly. For adults, it becomes a mirror, growth arcs, rebirth scenes, a life's turning point sealed with a gentle wing beat. Across genres and platforms, the symbol travels. Album art, stage design, fashion, always carrying the same soft thunder of meaning. Pop culture, then, is a new mythmaker, passing the emblem hand to hand, generation to generation. The image lands softly on our everyday lives and stays, because it speaks the language of change we already feel. On screen and in song, the butterfly keeps reminding us, transformation is possible, and beauty can be a compass. Whispers of hope, stories of healing. Beyond canvas and screen, the butterfly steps into our days with quiet grace, meeting us where words cannot, and laying a gentle hand upon the heart. There is a moment many have known, a garden gone still, a mind full of ache, and then, vibrant wings. A single butterfly settles on a waiting hand and lingers, as if to say, I am here. Not proof, but presence. Not answer, but a breath of peace. In places of farewell, hospices and quiet chapels, families open a small crate and a hush falls. Released to the sky, the butterflies rise like soft prayers, a tender ritual that turns parting into blessing, sorrow into a shared letting go. Faces lift, hands open, and for a breath, the air itself seems kinder. Those small wings carry what we cannot say, love continuing, love ascending, until grief remembers its other name, devotion. Healing can be held in the hands. Raising butterflies teaches patience and presence. Rinsing leaves, watching, waiting. Small lives tended with care. Small days made meaningful by gentleness. The steady hunger of the caterpillar. The utter stillness of the chrysalis. The slow unfurling of new wings. Each stage a mirror for the soul. Effort, surrender, emergence. And when at last a butterfly rests again upon a palm, it is more than symbol. It is companionship without words. A quiet assurance that in our darkest seasons, life is still at work, weaving light from silence. The butterfly's modern story isn't only art and emotion, it's action you can take with your own two hands. Populations are declining, yes, but that challenge has sparked a growing movement of everyday people stepping forward to help. This is citizen science, real research powered by volunteers, no lab coat needed, just curiosity, attention, and care. Bring a field guide or app, a notebook, and a keen eye, and you're ready. Counts are simple. Choose a route, set a time, walk slowly, record each species and how many you see. Submit your notes through local programs or trusted nature apps. Your observations become living data. Over time, these points form a picture, maps, trends, and timelines, that reveal change across entire regions. Another path, monarch tagging. With training and permits, volunteers place a tiny coded sticker on a wing and release the traveler. When tagged monarchs are reported along the route or in Mexico, scientists trace paths, timing, and survival, flight lines written across a continent. How to join. Search for local butterfly counts, seasonal surveys, or tagging workshops. Bring water, sun protection, and a gentle touch. You'll meet a community, neighbors, families, children, learning together under open sky. A simple walk becomes a purpose. Guardian, bookkeeper, advocate, for wings that cannot speak for themselves. And your notes, one by one, help scientists spot declines early, protect corridors, and guide restoration where it matters most. This is the quiet power of citizen science. A shared, gentle discipline that turns love into knowledge, and knowledge into care. Together, we count, we tag, we map, and we keep the story of these wings alive. For many of us, helping butterflies begins right outside the back door. A small patch of intention can become a true haven, welcoming, nourishing, and alive. Yard, patio, balcony, even a sunny window box. Any space can be a stepping stone of habitat when planted with purpose. Think sanctuary, not showcase. Provide the essentials through the whole life cycle. Host plants for caterpillars, nectar for adults, clean water, and safe shelter. Start with native plants. They are the language butterflies already speak. Familiar leaves, familiar blooms, familiar seasons. Choose region-specific host plants. Milkweed for monarchs, dill, fennel, or parsley for swallowtails, violets for fritillaries. Host plants are where new life truly begins. Then layer nectar across the seasons, spring, summer, and fall, so something is always in bloom. Coneflowers, asters, blazing star, and other natives make a continuous table of welcome. Make a no-pesticide promise. Skip herbicides and chemical fertilizers. Healthy soil, compost, and hand-picking pests protect more than you remove. Tolerate a few chewed leaves. They are signs of success. Caterpillars must eat to transform. Those tiny bites are tomorrow's wings. Offer comfort. Sunny spots to warm up. Windbreaks to rest. A shallow dish with wet sand or stones for puddling. A quiet drink in a safe place. Leave a corner a little wild. Leaf litter, twigs, and stem stubble make perfect hiding places for chrysalises and storm shelter for adults. Then watch the story unfold. Careful egg-laying, steady munching, quiet chrysalis, sudden wings. A living classroom, a daily joy. Begin simply. Plant 3 native nectar flowers for different seasons and 1 host plant. 1 pot counts. 1 yard at a time becomes a pathway of hope. Beyond our gardens and notebooks, real change unfolds at landscape scale. Wide horizons where many hands work as one. This is large-scale conservation. Scientists, indigenous leaders, farmers, and agencies aligning to safeguard critical habitats across whole regions. It protects big tracts, restores damaged places, and reforms policies, seeing the bigger picture and acting with shared responsibility. A central focus is migration corridors, continuous ribbons of healthy habitat that guide and sustain travelers on the wind. For monarchs, survival depends on an unbroken chain spanning thousands of miles. Way stations stitched together like beads of nectar. Along roadsides and fields, partners plant native wildflowers, set aside prairie and wetland, and build pollinator highways for rest and refueling. Piece by piece, fragmented landscapes reconnect, and small islands of habitat become a living network once more. Overwintering sanctuaries are another keystone. Safe climates, protective forests, and quiet microhabitats to weather the cold. In Mexico's Oyamel firs, sacred groves cradle millions of monarchs, the beating heart of a continental migration. Conservation thrives with local communities, economic alternatives to logging, reforestation jobs, and ecotourism that honors guardianship. Rangers, landowners, and citizen stewards protect these sanctuaries, quiet vigilance for a winged nation at rest. The work is complex: cross-border agreements, sound science, public education, and the political will to see plans through. Yet momentum grows: neighbors planting, students counting, researchers tracking, and agencies funding corridors that truly connect. The butterfly's decline is a warning light. Saving it means healing watersheds, soils, and the living web we share. These coordinated efforts are a promise to tomorrow, so that the great migrations continue and the air stays bright with wings. We have journeyed so far together. We have traveled through ancient myths, marveled at metamorphosis, and seen how the butterfly inspires us today. Now, our journey comes home, to this moment. What can you do? The butterfly shows that even the smallest act can have a profound impact. Small, gentle actions, added together, create real change. You do not need titles or expertise, only 2 hands and a caring heart. Begin with a single plant. On a yard, balcony, or sunny sill, choose a native, nectar-rich flower: lavender, coneflowers, milkweed. That small pot can become a vital oasis for a passing butterfly, a simple gift of food and life. Put away pesticides and chemicals. Make your garden a safe place to thrive. Kind choices ripple outward through the neighborhood. Use your voice and your choices. Share what you learn. Support organic, pollinator-friendly farms. Join a citizen science project and lend your eyes to conservation. Ask local leaders for pollinator habitats in parks and along roadsides. Curiosity and passion are powerful tools. Every conversation plants a seed. The butterfly models transformation. Small and humble becomes free and beautiful. Let it change how we relate to nature, from consumption to care. By helping butterflies, we help heal our world and ourselves. Let our story be one of gentle action, so these winged jewels keep dancing for generations to come. We have reached the end of our long journey together, carried gently by the flutter of butterfly wings. We began in the mists of myth, hearing the ancients speak of the butterfly as soul, as lover, as returning ancestor. We traveled through Greece, Japan, Mexico, and beyond, finding humanity's wonder reflected in this delicate being. Then we stepped into the clear light of science, metamorphosis, migration, pollination, facts that glimmer like prayers answered. 2 ways of knowing appeared before us, not 2 worlds but one, seen from different shores. Myth offers the poetry, science, the grammar. Together they compose a single sentence of awe. The Greeks named it psyche, soul, speaking in metaphor, while the biologist names imaginal discs rebuilding life from a cellular sea. It is the same miracle in 2 tongues. One tells of a soul's journey, the other of inherited memory. Both tracing a thread of identity that endures through change. This union magnifies wonder. Knowing a monarch steers by sun and Earth's faint magnet makes its Day of the Dead return more miraculous, not less. We find a magic that is real and a logic that is poetic, woven through the universe. So we learn to see with both eyes open. One eye reading scales and structure, the other beholding stained glass and message. One ear hearing explanation, the other a whisper of rebirth. When poetry and grammar dance together, our story grows fuller and truer, guiding us gently toward the lessons we now carry forward. If we quiet our minds and watch closely, we find a patient teacher on the morning air. The butterfly offers a silent lesson in how to live and how to grow. No speeches, only the soft grammar of light on wings and the hush between heartbeats. The first lesson is courage. A caterpillar lets go of its old name, its old form, its old way of moving through the world, and surrenders to darkness and stillness. Inside the chrysalis, unseen and complete, change gathers itself like breath before a first word. The second lesson is the power of small, faithful acts. No grand leap makes a butterfly, only one careful bite and then another and another. So it is with us. Thousands of quiet choices become the strength we need for transformation. The third lesson is presence. The butterfly does not mourn its past or rush its future. It simply is. Sipping sweetness, riding the light. In its brief, brilliant dance, it reminds us to cherish what is here now. The fourth lesson is impact beyond size. A creature lighter than a leaf stitches color into the world, bearing pollen on velvet dust. Beauty, nourishment, and new life, carried on the hush of a wingbeat. The final lesson is our part in the pattern. When we plant, protect, and choose with care, our small acts ripple outward. We become co-authors of the meadow, quiet gardeners of a future in bloom. So let the butterfly be your mentor in tenderness and resolve. Surrender when it is time. Persist in the small. Live fully in the moment, and remember, even the lightest touch can change the world. Then, when you are ready, unfold and fly. Our journey has revealed both the butterfly's wonder and the real, present dangers it now faces. Habitat lost, pesticides, a shifting climate, long shadows gathering at the edges of our bright meadow. It is easy to feel small before such storms. And yet, the butterfly story is a lesson in hope. We stand at a fork in the road, two paths, two futures, both of them ours to choose. One path, inaction. Carry on as before. Look away as wings fall silent. Tell ourselves the problem is too large for our small hands. That way leads to a quieter, dimmer world. Fewer flowers, frayed ecosystems, wonder fading to a whisper, and then to nothing. This future we must turn away from. The other path is gentle action. Small, conscious choices that add up. Plant milkweed, let dandelions bloom. Put away the poisons, teach a child the magic of the chrysalis. Join a count, lend your voice. No heroics required, only care, attention, and the trust that our actions matter. This is the path of restoration, of partnership with the living world, a future we can choose. Imagine backyards, parks, and roadsides stitched into a network of sanctuaries, an archipelago of life. Imagine the monarchs returning in rivers of orange, celebrated not only in memory but in the success of our care. Imagine a child's open hand and a living ember of the sky choosing to land. The butterfly shows us transformation is possible. Now it is our turn. Let us be agents of gentle change, healing our world so these winged messengers of hope continue to fly for generations to come. And so, our time together comes to a close, gently, like wings settling after flight. We have journeyed through myth. We have marveled at science. We have found our own place in the butterfly's story. We have seen that this small, delicate creature is so much more than just an insect. It is a teacher. It is a messenger. It is a mirror that reflects our deepest yearnings. Yearning for change. Yearning for freedom. Yearning for connection. A living poem reminding us of the link between struggle and release, between darkness and light, between the earthbound and the ethereal. Its story is a universal language of hope, spoken softly across seasons and heard by every open heart. One final thought. One last invitation. Next time you're outside, wild meadow, city park, your small garden, look for the flicker of color, the gentle dancing flight. When you see a butterfly, don't let it be a passing glance. Stop for a moment. Watch it. Let its silent, graceful presence be a meditation. Remember its journey. The patient egg, the voracious caterpillar, the miraculous chrysalis. Remember ancestor stories. Remember scientific wonders. Let the butterfly speak to you in its silent language. Unhurried, luminous, and perfectly clear. Let it remind you of your resilience, of your capacity for transformation. Let it be a symbol of hope, a tiny winged affirmation. Let it remind you of interconnectedness, of our role protecting the delicate fabric of life. Let it be your teacher, your muse, your friend. The butterfly asks for so little: a flower to sip from, a leaf for its young, a safe place to complete its journey. In return, it gives us so much: beauty, pollination, wonder, hope. It whispers on the wind. From the deepest darkness, you too can find your wings. Now, go outside and listen for the whispers. Thank you for watching our video. We would be grateful for your like, share, subscribe, and comment on social media. Papillon Chateau, where whispers are gentle, courage is wrapped in color, miracles are born in silence, and beauty is always in the act of becoming. Thank you for visiting us at Papillon Chateau, where every wing tells a story.